I'm a bit like Courtney. I can't believe how rapidly those years passed. She only had a few years, 40 years, I can hardly believe it. During my decades of absence from Bloomington, I have had very little contact, unfortunately, with past athletes or colleagues. I've seen Chuck Crabb, though, every now and then, and I've heard his voice often. I love it. But don't think badly of me. I still bleed cream and crimson, for sure. And I can also tell you, and it won't come as a surprise, the Alumni Association will find you wherever you are. They will. Sherry, thank you for tracking me down, finding me in Iowa, inviting me back. It's certainly my honor and pleasure to be here. When I first received the invitation, it was via email. Are you the Ann Lawver that coached at IU? And I looked at that email for a day, and then another day, and then another day. I was struggling with whether or not I would come back. But I thought, well, I should at least respond. That's polite. I can identify, yes, I'm that person, so they don't email several other Ann Lawvers. After 40 years, 40 years is a lot of years. If you do 40 of anything, 40 repetitions, that's a significant number. From biblical times, we know that Moses went up on the mountain for 40 days before he came down to lead his people to the promised land. Jesus spent 40 days and 40 nights praying and fasting. Hence, Lent is 40 days. In fact, 40 is a number that numerologists apply a lot of significance to. They see it as a magical number that marks the end to a long period of testing. It signifies a new beginning. Was I being tested? Is there a new era of volleyball coming about? Should I ignore the significance and not come? Well, this struggle went on in my mind for quite a long time, and then I got an email from a past athlete assistant coach, Sharon Moore Furlong. And she said, Karen is coming all the way from Colorado. Karen Thompson was then Wallenstein, Wally. How can you possibly not come? So I don't know if it's the power of 40 or the power of Sharon, but I'm delighted to be here today. It was a milestone to get me here, but it'll be a lot easier the next time, I assure you. And during the past several weeks, I still am working. I'm a realtor. I've been a realtor for 25 years in Iowa City. And I would tell my colleagues I was headed back to Indiana for the 40th reunion of volleyball. They'd say, gee, you've got to be kidding me. Well, you don't look that old. Well, at first I took that as compliments, but mirrors don't lie, and my aching joints don't lie either. It's been 40 years, and considering the alternative, I'm very happy to be here. Today we acknowledge 40 years of Indiana volleyball. For each of us, there were times that felt like the wilderness because we had to face fears and challenges. But our being here shows we also found Indiana an oasis. When I arrived on campus, Big Ten athletics only referred to men's sports. Women's were not included. That wasn't women. The powers in volleyball were to the far west, way far west. But now look at us. Big Ten volleyball is the premier volleyball conference. Yay. The journey has not always been easy. I have a coaching friend who refers to coaching as a time when 18 to 20-year-olds are entrusted to us for their 4-year apprenticeship into adulthood. I think someone else referred to that. As a coach, I took my role very seriously, and I wanted to help my young women become the best they could be. I wanted them to have a purpose in life, contribute to their communities, and feel fulfilled. We are all here because we are thankful for the role that Indiana University played in our lives and our development. After I committed myself to coming to the reunion, which was no easy commitment, but I did, I started recalling and reflecting upon my years here. And pretty much I didn't do that, but I have now gone through that, done that reflection. I was only 25 when I accepted a multifaceted position here at IU, and the head volleyball coach was one of those positions. Since obtaining degrees, we have all gone our separate ways, lived a lot of different careers, lives. I'm sure everyone has a little different story. After 40 years, there have been numerous successes, and we've all had failures. Marriages succeeded, marriages failed. Many have children, and some, I'm pretty sure, have grandchildren. According to our separate goals and interests, we chose a variety of occupations, and some, like me, are looking forward to soon retiring. But the one thing we all have in common is that we received our foundation from the same place, Indiana University. IU was our training ground, and graduation was our rite of passage. It's difficult to have perspective without experiences. And as a 25-year-old, I realize now that I didn't have it. I had very little experience, so I had very little perspective. 40 years later, I know how rich of an experience I had. I've been a lot of places all over the world. I've participated in a lot of different events. But I shall never forget my years at Indiana. IU was a magical place, and I have a feeling it still is from the energy in the room. I believe that our university does a lot to prepare us for life. Coming together after 40 years is like a return to hallowed ground. The fellowship we share at this reunion is special because we cannot attain it with any other group. We are unique because we all share the common bond of Indiana volleyball. And it's important that the current team feels the support of all who have gone before. When you win, we win. We feel it. When you lose, we feel your loss as well. Working hard, giving your very best makes us all proud. Take strength in knowing the deep support and following you have. I wanted to present you with something inspiring. I hope the anecdote I'm about to share, even though some of you may have heard it, will serve that purpose. This short narrative is about a woman named Rose, who was old enough to be grandmothers to most of you, when she went back to college to complete a degree. In her graduation year, she was asked by a young athlete to say a few inspiring words to younger generations. Not long after Rose received her degree, the young man learned of Rose's passing, and so he wrote a tribute to her. Following is what he wrote. The first day of school, our professor introduced himself and challenged us to get to know someone that we had never met. I stood up to look around, and I felt a gentle hand touch my shoulder. I turned around, and a wrinkled little old lady was looking up at me, smiling. She said, "Hi, my name is Rose. Can I give you a hug?" I laughed and enthusiastically responded, "Of course you may." And she gave me a giant squeeze. "Why are you in college at such a young age?" I asked her. She said, "Well, I'm here to meet a rich husband, get married, have a couple of children, retire, and then travel." "No, seriously," I asked. I was curious what may have motivated her to take on this challenge at this age. I always dreamed of having a college degree, so that's what I'm doing. After class, we walked to the Union and shared a chocolate shake. We became instant friends. Every day for the next 3 months, we'd leave class and just talk and talk and talk. I was mesmerized listening to her tell me of her tales, life experiences, and her wisdom. Over the course of the year, Rose became a campus icon. She made friends easily, she loved dressing up, and she loved all the attention people gave to her. She was just having a ball. At the end of the semester, we invited Rose to speak to our athletic banquet. I'll never forget what she taught us. She was introduced, stepped up to the podium. As she began to deliver her speech, she dropped her 3x5 cards on the floor. She says, I'm sorry, I'm so jittery. I gave up beer for Lent, and this whiskey is killing me. I'll never get my speech ready, so let me just tell you what I know. As we laughed, she cleared her throat and began. We do not stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing. There are only 4 secrets to staying young, being happy, and achieving success. You have to laugh and find humor every day. You've got to have a dream. When you lose your dreams, you die. We have so many people walking around that are dead and don't even know it. There's a huge difference between growing old and growing up. If you are 19 years old and lie in bed for 1 full year, not do one productive thing, you will still turn 20. If I'm 87 years old to stay in bed for 1 full year and don't do anything, I'm going to turn 88. It doesn't take any talent to grow older. The idea is to grow up by always finding the opportunity in change. Have no regrets. The elderly don't have regrets about what they did. They have regrets about what they did not do. My wish for you, my Indiana friends, is that we, like Rose, may stay forever young. May we have gratitude in our hearts for the experiences we have, be they challenging, heartbreaking, or exhilarating. Let us dismiss thoughts of entitlement, which has a buzzword nowadays. It blocks our ability to have gratitude. Let us replace it with those thoughts with our ability to be grateful. Let us commit our goals in writing, for they are exponentially more likely to occur then. And finally, let's beat Purdue every chance we get. Go Hoosiers. Thank you.